going to say? If Apple tells us it's 9 o'clock, we're starting. So, sit comfortably. You know, grab blankets if you want to so that you can sit up higher if that feels better for your hips. And sit comfortable. Kind of be aware of how you sit cross-legged. I think, you know, when we do long years of yoga that we just automatically cross our legs and don't really think about it. So, you know, sometimes people want to cross more at their ankles. Sometimes want to bring their feet more under their knees. But just kind of adjust where it feels really the best for you and your hips instead of just mindlessly pulling your legs in. You know what I mean? And then just lengthen up and let your eyes gently close. Bring your hands to a very comfortable place to rest so that you can feel open across your chest. And then just lightly closing your eyes and feeling that lightness in your face as well. Start to feel your breath coming in and going out through your nose. And imagine your breath is coming equally in through both sides of your nose and going out when you exhale equally through both sides of your nose, which it probably isn't necessarily, but you can imagine that it is, which might help a little bit to even it out. On your next exhale, let your hands come on out beside you, fingertips lightly touching here. And let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down through the midline to be in front of our hearts. And then we'll reverse. Inhale the hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms on back out and down. And now let's inhale our hands straight out from our shoulders and go ahead and flex your hands. If you need to bend your elbows a little bit to do that, do. And then see if you can press into the heels of the hands coming into straighter arms, just to really get in the undersides of the arms there. And then rotate now so that the fingertips face up, but your pinky is facing forward, right? And your thumb is facing behind, towards the wall behind you. And then bend your elbows and let your fingertips come lightly to the tops of your shoulders. Take a nice inhale. And when you exhale, draw the elbows forward so that you just let yourself come elbows towards each other, maybe touching. And then when you inhale, open them back. So don't force anything. Let your exhales just bring the elbows forward. If you like to bring them all the way together, you can. And then your inhales, open them back wide. So moving with your own breath, let yourself just feel that easy, gentle movement through the shoulders. Good. And the next time the elbows come out to the side, stay there. And let's start to circle your elbows. Now they can be really tiny circles. You go either direction because we'll switch. And then if you want to get bigger and bigger, whichever direction you're going, if that feels good, you can let the circles get bigger. And we're going to stop and bring the elbows straight out. Now start to circle the other way from the way you were just going. So if you're going backwards, go forwards, and the opposite, of course. And then again, as they're small, they want to get bigger and bigger, go right ahead. If they don't want to get bigger and bigger, those circles, don't do it. Let yourself just release into the shoulders here. Good. And the next time that you, again, come back to where you can reach out through your elbows straight out from the shoulders, dude. And let's unfold the arms on down beside us. And inhale our right arm all the way out and up overhead. And come on over into a side stretch here. At first, let your palm of your right hand face towards the ground. Let yourself breathe there a couple of breaths. You don't have to go deep or anything. Just find the spaces there between the right ribs. And then see if you can turn your hand the other way so the palm faces up towards the ceiling. And then press up into the heel of the hand a little bit more. So flex your hand, fingertips face down. And then we'll rise up. Use your belly to help you. We're going to inhale the left arm up as the right arm comes down. And again, at first when you come over to the side, let your palm face down so you're feeling your shoulder release away from your ear. Breathing into the left side here. And then turn your hand over so the palm faces up. And then as you flex the hand, press up there into the heel of your hand there. And find just a little bit more or maybe a little bit different place. And then we'll rise on back up again, bringing the arms on down beside us. And let's come on forward. You can decide, stay up high with your back long the whole time. If it feels better to fold a little more forward, totally up to you, and you know what, pay attention to your back. If you like to fold over your legs and add a little bit of curve in the upper back at the end there, go right ahead and do it. Especially let your head release and let your jaw go. See if you can let your head just turn a little bit, like move around a little bit with your head. So you just maybe turn it a little side to side, or you might feel kind of good to nod your head, yes, a little bit too. And then we'll slowly walk our way on back up. And let's switch the cross of our legs, and if you need to stretch out between sides, do. And of course, if you don't like being cross-legged, keep your legs long if you want. Again, be aware kind of how you're crossing. Let yourself feel comfortable here in your hips. And then release your hands again on out beside you. Take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, let's twist to our right, letting that left hand come on around as far as you want to go towards that right knee, lengthening up. Think about drawing your pelvic floor up a little bit, lengthening up through the top of your head. One more inhale. Now, if you can, keep your left hand on that right knee, and as you exhale, come back around, cross your right arm on top of your left. So you've made kind of an X here, and your fingertips, if possible, touch your knees. And then as you exhale, draw into a little bit of rounded back, just a little bit, like you're doing a seated cat pose here. And then as you inhale, come on back to sit nice and tall. Uncross your arms, fingertips on down out beside you. Take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to twist to our left. So bringing that right hand around, if you can, all the way to the knee. Lengthening up, feel that pelvic floor lift. Let your shoulders release. Doesn't matter where you look. If it feels kind of good to look a little farther back, do. If it's too much for your neck, just be mindful. Let it feel really easy in your neck. Feel that twist in the middle of the back. One more inhale. And then keeping the right hand in where it is as you exhale. Again, now you bring your left arm on top and you have that kind of an X with your arms. And as you exhale, draw your navel towards your spine. Feel your tailbone curl a little bit forward. And then when you inhale, let yourself roll on back up and release your arms on out beside you again. And let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. And let's come on forward here with this leg forward. Take your time, hands down. Now don't go very far. At first stay up and then let yourself shift your torso a little bit from one side to the other, all right? So it feels really good. It's easy. You feel that in your low back on each side, you know, just above your hip. And then, of course, once you come back to center, if you want to go farther forward, go for it. If not, stay up high. Take your time. If you like to fold a little more over your legs, just be really mindful of how your back feels. Let it feel like a relief. Soft face. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to let ourselves walk on back up. And from here, let's stretch our legs out into a little bit of a wide angle, not really very wide, so that you let yourself come just so that you're comfortable when you come on forward to bring your hands to your shins, or of course some of you may want to bring your hands to your toes to wake up the backs of the legs a little bit and feel the heels on the ground drawing back towards you a bit so you're engaged. Take your time, let it feel good. Good. And then we'll rise on back up. And go ahead and bring your legs forward. Shake them out a little bit if you want to. Circle through your feet, your ankles a little bit. Windshield wiper blades or bounces if you want. We're going to come around towards our hands and knees from here. So, you know, blankets if you need them. Under your knees, underneath your hands. Come on to fists if you like. So that you're able to be comfortable in how you are for your cat-cow. And remember, we are all different. You know, whether you move through into pretty deep cat or cows is totally up to you. You know, if you'd rather, instead of going completely into a cat or a cow, and your back is telling you not to, you know, just let it be smaller. Or just move from neutral spine into a pose that feels okay for you. Take your time and imagine it's a very natural feeling to let the spine come into all these little curves, because it is, right? We're lucky we have all this movement in our spines. Good. Finish off the one you're on. And come on back to more neutral spine. And let's send our right foot behind us on the floor. Curl our toes under. Press into the heel. Let yourself really wake up there through the back of the leg. And now get your left knee. It's going to be a supporting knee. Let it get to a place where you feel like it's going to be easy to lift that leg up. And then send your left hand forward. So opposite arm and leg. Left fingertips are on the floor. And then when we inhale, we're going to rise the arm and the leg up parallel to the floor. And now send the right leg out to the right, the left arm a little to the left. You have this diagonal line. And then bring them back to where they're right in line with your shoulder and your hip. And then do that again. Right leg goes to the right, left arm to the left. Come on back into right behind your arm and your leg are behind your shoulder and your hip. And then go ahead and lower your hand and your knee down. We're going to switch and put our left foot back there behind us. Curl the toes under. Wake up the calf. Wake up the back of the leg. Send the right hand forward. Fingertips on the floor there. Now when you think about rising up, both arm and leg at the same time, let yourself really feel that core strength. And now right arm to the right, left leg to the left a little bit. And now bring them back in line, right back from your shoulder and your hip. And then do that again. Open out to the side, that diagonal line. One more time, come back. Actually, let's do that one more time. Out to the side. And then come back. And then bring your hand down, your knee down, and shift back into child's pose. And that's a lot of work. So let yourself, warms you up really fast. Warms your core up. And breathe. Let yourself release where you can. Let your arms be soft. Let it be a resting pose. Good. And one more breath. And then let's come on forward. You can grab your blocks if you want. We're going to step our left foot forward. Leave our right knee down on the floor. And then shift our hips forward to come into opening through the front of that right hip. And, you know, put a blanket under your knee if you need. So be mindful. We're not going to lift up. We're just going to stay here. Let it feel good. Press gently into the top of that right foot. Good. Let's switch legs. So just bring that left knee on back and stepping forward with that right foot, and then take your time. Ease your way. Only go as far as you want. And then we'll come on back again with that right knee. Step our left foot forward and let's lift up into that back knee up for lunge. And take your time here. Get yourself situated. Really enjoy coming in here to the lunge. And then bring your left hand to your left hip and let yourself turn into that twist. Hand can stay down if you want. You can stretch your arm up if you want to. So that depends on whether it feels good to you to reach up through the arm or keep the hand down. And then we'll come on back down with the hand. We're going to switch legs. So again, be mindful. Get into that pose where you know you're safe in that front knee. You can feel the length through the whole back of the body. And then when you're ready, bringing the right hand on up and just easing your way into that twist. Whether you use the arm or not is up to you. And then we'll come on back down with the hand. Let's step forward. Come on into your standing forward bend. And you know, if you need support and you need to keep your back long and use your blocks, you can put your elbows above your knees to let yourself keep that length through the low back. So be very mindful of how your back feels and see if you can walk a little bit in your Uttanasana. So you bend one knee at a time, lift the heel of the leg that's bent. Yeah? So you come in to move it through your feet too as you do this little walk. And see if you can have this 1 second where both your heels are up and both legs are straight. And then you just let one heel come down. So you come up to the balls of the feet, one heel lowers down with that straight leg. So you can really move through your feet. Good. And then finish off to let both feet go ahead and come on down. Let yourself come into your forward bend again, however you feel good to be. Remember, don't want to lock your knees. You do want to feel your sitting bones over your heels. Good. One more breath. And then we'll bring our hands up to our hips and bend our knees and rise to standing and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. So coming into your mountain pose, go ahead and bring your chin down towards your chest for a minute and look at your feet. You know, you might want to shift around a little bit. Now you've got your hands there. So you're trying to bring your focus not to your hands but to your feet, which is really kind of fun because sometimes you start to see your feet double, but just let yourself see if you can make sure your feet are pretty parallel. And then bring your focus to your hands. Let yourself look right there between your thumbs and your pointer fingers. And then on your next inhale, bring your gaze on forward and out, whether your eyes are opened or closed, letting yourself look out as though you're looking at the horizon, whether your eyes are closed or open, just so you feel that sense of looking way beyond, right? And then imagine, just for fun, that you're standing in the middle of like a big, huge, empty, open field. And be aware of the space around you. And it's like that quietness can just come into your body, just from being in that space. And then as we let our arms unfold on down beside us, we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, bend our knees, coming forward from your hips into your standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find that flat, long back. And we'll step the right foot back and come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into downward facing dog pose. So take your time. Actually, look at your hands. You can come forward a little bit, not like all the way to a plank, just to see your hands. Spread your fingers wide. Kind of make sure you're really easy and comfortable in your hands and they're equal. Hug your elbows in towards each other a little bit so they're a little bent. And then reach back through your sitting bones. Bend your knees if you need to. Keep your elbows hugging in towards each other. Now feel your hands very equal on the floor. Make sure you're not rolling more to the outside of your hands. And on your next inhale, come on out to that plank, nice and strong. Engage your belly. Feel your sitting bones reaching for your heels. Now just for fun, lift your hips a little higher, just a little bit. And then let them come back to where you feel like you're in your plank. And do that again. Lift your hips just up a little higher. Hey, good. And then bring them on back into line. And now we're going to come down to the floor. You can put your knees down first if you choose. Elbows right by the ribs. And let's come on into a little Sphinx Pose. Bringing those forearms onto the mat. And actually, for a second, let your pinkies turn towards the floor and let your palms face each other. And kind of close the gap between your fingers. Bring your thumb down so you have your hands like really kind of flat feeling. And then just enjoy. Feel how your shoulders feel. Feel that openness through the front of the body. And then lower down and stretch your arms up towards the front corners of your mat so that you're in a wide V. And come onto your fingertips, just the tips of your fingers and thumbs. And then when you exhale, let your head float up off the mat a little bit. Engage your belly. You've still got your fingertips there, giving you a little support. And now try to stay where your body is and slide your hands back by your chest. Elbows are hugging in and down a little bit. And you can press up all the way higher and higher and higher if you want to for a cobra, or you can stay right down there because that's a cobra without going anywhere from there. And then we'll come on back down. We're going to make our way into down dog from here, however you want to get there. So take your time, spread those fingers, let yourself enjoy, walk if you need to, bend your knees, ease your way into your dog. Good, and we'll bring the right foot forward this time to come into lunge. And then we'll come all the way back into standing forward bend. And again, right to your breaths. Easy, full, deep, even breaths. So really be aware of following both your inhales and your exhales all the way in and out. Let go through your face. Nice. We're going to let our hands come up to our hips, bend our knees, and rise up to standing. Inhaling the arms out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Let's sit back into a little chair pose. Don't make it a really low one right now, okay? Let your weight shift more to your heels, all right? Press down into your heels like you're really pressing both heels into the floor. Feel how your quads engage and really feel the strength in the legs and the hips. One more breath. And then press into the feet, rise on up. Inhale the hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms like wings as you come into your standing forward bend. Let your next inhale lengthen out your spine. And we'll step the left foot back this time, coming into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your down dog. Now once you find your dog and you're pretty comfortable, just start to, when you inhale, rise your heels up as high as you can. And when you exhale, let them lower back down, okay? So you're just inhaling, rising, really feeling the toes on the floor, right? And really working into the feet. So just a couple more times with that inhale, rising up. And then exhaling, heels back down. And then finish off in your full dog. Elbows hug inward. Let your inhale bring you to your plank. And we're going to lower down. Again, if you want to put your knees first, do. Elbows right by the ribs. And we'll come into that little cobra. If you want to go higher, go right ahead. You can stay low, elbows hugging in. You can press up higher if you choose. Elbows still are hugging in and shoulders are away from your ears. And then we'll release to come back down. Stretch your arms back into that wide V. So your hands are going, your arms are going to the corners of your mat. And this time as you inhale, let your legs and your head lift up. So keep your hands there for a little bit. Just let yourself enjoy kind of a little locust pose here. And then lower everything back down. Take a breath into your low back. And then bring your hands back by your chest, and we're going to shift back to pose of a child. So let yourself release back towards your child's pose. And then walk your hands over to the right. And then breathe into your left side once you get as far as you want to go. And then walk back through center, and we're going to go over to the left. And again, once you get as far as you want to go, breathe into the right ribs. And then we'll bring our hands back again, out overhead. And then as we inhale, we'll come to all fours and reach back into downward facing dog pose. Just for fun, bring your feet a little closer together, lift your right leg up in the air, and bend the knee, and open the hip a little bit. Look under your right arm if you can. And then come on back. We're going to release that foot back down to the floor, and the other leg goes up. Left leg up, knee bends. Stack that hip a little bit. Let yourself open up. Good, and we're going to lower that foot back down to the floor. And we're going to bring our left foot forward to come into lunge. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. Full deep breaths. Support how you need. Feel like you're relaxing all through your face. Really think if you could relax your all around your mouth and all around your eyes. It's like your muscles just totally release. Your forehead smooths out. And then bringing our hands to our hips, we'll rise on up to standing and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Breath in your mouth. And we're going to move through the two sun salutations with our breath. So really bringing your focus to letting the breath move you through here. Let's release our arms down beside us and inhale both arms all the way out and up. Let your exhale carry you forward. And let your inhale lengthen out your spine, and your exhale right foot back to lunge. And inhale, exhale into your down dog. Let your inhale bring you to plank, and your exhale lower you down. And on your inhale, coming into your cobra of choice, and exhaling back into down dog. Inhale, exhale right foot forward to lunge, and inhale. Exhale to your standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising all the way up to the top. And let your exhale carry you forward again. Let your inhale lengthen your spine. Exhale, left foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your down dog. Let your inhale bring you to your plank. And your exhale lower you down. And inhale into your cobra of choice. And exhale back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale, left foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale to your standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising all the way up to the top of the breath, and letting your exhale bring you forward again. Inhale into that long back. We're going to come into down dog. So you can jump, you can walk yourself back, coming into down dog. And walk a little bit, ease your way, bend your knees if you want. Find a little movement in your dog if you can. Good. We're going to bring the left foot forward from here. We're coming up for warrior two. You might want some blocks handy there in front of your mat. So line your heels up. Let it feel really good to feel your heels in a line. Feel that alignment of that front knee. Let your shoulders release down. Let your arms just hang. Hands just lightly touching your thighs, really. And feel as open as you can here across your chest. So go ahead and draw the right shoulder back a little bit, right? So you're already lined up for when the arms float up into your warrior two arms. So we'll rise the arms all the way up, a little higher than your shoulders with your hands. Soften your shoulders down. And then you get to bring the hands right to the place where it feels best to you, to look out over the top of your left hand. And feel that nice, powerful warrior two pose. Strong, balanced, We're going to turn that left palm up. And inhale, reach up towards the sky. Let your right hand give you support as low as you want to go, really, with the hand. One more breath into the left side. And on the exhale, we'll come into that side angle. So you can either bring your hand or your forearm to your thigh. You can add that right arm up into line if your shoulder lets you. So let yourself really turn the right pinky finger down a little bit towards the floor. Feel your shoulder, your right shoulder, drawing away from your ear. But also the left shoulder's down away from your ear as you press into that left hand or forearm. Good. One more breath here. And now turn to look down at your left foot and bring your left hand for triangle where you like to use it. I like a block, but you might want to use your leg or the floor. And as you start to straighten that left leg out, let the right arm come straight on up into your triangle arm. And feel the thighs engaging up towards the hips. Yes, nice alignment. Feel that length out. Now some of you might want to turn to look up towards that top hand. That doesn't always feel good in the neck, so if it doesn't feel good, don't do it. Feel those thighs still lifting up towards the hips. Beautiful. One more breath. And now bend that left knee. We're going to come on back into Warrior Two, pressing those feet away from each other as we come. And now letting your hands come down. Let's turn our feet more parallel, adjusting for your wide-legged forward bend. And then ease your way forward. You know, grab blocks if you want them. Take your time, let yourself bring your hands to the surface you like, and then bend one knee at a time and ease your way from side to side. Whatever feels good for you, however fast or slow you want to do that. And then when you're ready to come back into center, either take your block further out in front of you or walk your hands out on the floor further out like you're doing a down dog. And let yourself release your chest down a little bit. Let your hands be wider by, maybe 3 or 4 inches than they are when you do your normal bob. And you know what I like to do is I like to take the block and put it under my head in this pose. So it feels just amazing to me to let my chest then sink down from there with the head supported. But that's not for everybody. So take your time. Let it feel releasing. One more breath. And then we'll walk our hands on back. And let's walk over towards our right foot. Now, you don't have to go all the way. You know that. You can shift your block and stay in front of your foot. You can walk and hold on to the outside of your right ankle if you want to. And then come on back through center, and we're going to go the other side. Only again as far as you choose to go. Stay on that side and breathe. Good. And then come on back into center. And take your time. Set up to be with your breath here so you know you're not going to be distracted in this pose because you have some little discomfort going on, right? So that might mean you want support. You might decide to use blocks under your forearms or under your head, or you might decide you want to put your elbows above your knees and support yourself that way. And try to feel the weight of your head. And again, that release in your jaw. So letting your teeth separate a little bit, even though your lips stay together, right? Letting your teeth kind of just come separate so you're not clenching. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to make our way back out with our hands so we can walk back to our left foot. And come on back to lunge and then back into your down dog. And you all know you can do whatever you like right here, vinyasas or kriyas. I mean, you may not want to do back bends. You may want to come out to plank and go back to dog. You may want to stay in dog. You may want to put your knees down and come into child's pose. So be mindful. And finish off to meet back in down dog. Now if you're doing something two-sided, make sure you do the other side. Good. And then from here, let's bring our right foot forward. We're coming up for warrior two on that other side. So lining up our heels. And again, take your time. Bend that front knee. Make sure you're lined up with that knee. So if you can let your hands just rest gently here on your top of your right thigh and the outside of your left thigh, and you feel really easy across your chest right here. Really open. So that it just feels natural to float your arms on up and out and bring your gaze to look over the top of that right hand, softening the shoulders down. And if you have to shrug a little bit, let yourself feel easy. Like your arms are just growing out of your back, the tops of your shoulders are released down, and you have energy out through both sets of fingertips. Good. As we lower our left hand down and turn our right palm up, we'll inhale, and you can reach as far back behind yourself as you want. That left hand can give you a little support in your reverse warrior, and let your next exhale bring you into your side angle. So you know it can be your hand or your forearm on your thigh. And if you are okay to bring that left arm up into line, you can bring the arm up, turn the pinky down towards the ground a little bit, feel both shoulders coming down away from both ears, pressing into that forearm there on your leg. Pressing down so you really can find that space between your right shoulder and your right ear. Good. One more breath. And now turn to look down. Again, for triangle, if you like to use a block or your leg, as you come into straightening that right leg out, you're watching it. The left arm just comes straight up from your shoulder. See if you can make sure you're not rolling on that right foot now. Lift your toes up for a second. And then when you're ready, you can turn your gaze to look towards the long edge of your mat, or maybe it feels good to turn to look up towards your hand up there. Remember, you don't want that hand to be flailing back behind your shoulder. You want the arm straight up there. One more breath. And we're going to bend that right knee. We're going to come on back into warrior two, pressing those feet away from each other. Coming right back into that core strength. And then we'll bring our hands down. We're going to turn our feet more parallel. Now before you come forward, bring your hands behind you for a second. Let yourself feel really open across your chest. And when you inhale, let the hands come off your back a little bit. And when you exhale, let them come back down to touch. So the elbows are not locked, right? They're a little bit bent. Inhale the hands away. And exhale, let them come back down. And then one more time, inhaling, letting the hands come away. And on the exhale, they're going to come back down. Now, as you come forward from here, if you really want to put your hands down rather than come forward with your hands back, do it. You can put your hands on blocks and stay with that long back. Some of you might want to fold all the way forward and bring your arms off your back here where the hands are still clasped. That is not for everybody's back. So be really mindful. Take your time. If you need to put your hands down, do. Nice. And then when you're ready, do let your hands come on down towards blocks of the floor and lengthen out your spine from there. Let's add a little twist of bringing our right hand up to our right hip and roll that shoulder up. And you can either put your hand right there on your sacrum, staying really level, or you can stretch the arm up if you want to. It feels really good in your shoulder. Go right ahead and stretch it up. And then come on back down to center with that right hand. Left hand comes up. We roll up that left shoulder into that twist. Press your feet away from each other like you're trying to lengthen your mat. Feel your inner thighs release behind you. And then if you want to stretch the left arm up, you can, if your shoulder lets you do that. Beautiful. And then we're going to come on back down. Very nice. And take your time. Wiggle around however you want much you need to. Kind of adjust yourself. Play around into some easy stretches if you'd like. So that you're going to be able to more easily release into your pose here. So So, you know, sometimes just trying something different helps you to experience a pose differently. Something as little as where you put your hands, you know, whether you use blocks underneath your head or your forearms. So just imagine your body is just finding its way, really, into being in this pose very easily. And you can just let yourself go to your breath. And it feels so good to let those breaths come in very fully and deeply in and out. So one more nice deep full breath. And from here we are going to walk ourselves back over to that right foot to come on back into lunge and make our way back into downward facing dog pose. Nice. And let's all come out to plank. And then from here lift your right foot up off the floor just a little bit. And then bring your right knee in towards your chest, and then reach it back again to three-legged plank and put the foot down. And then the left foot's going to come up. You're going to bring the knee in a little bit underneath you, and then you're going to stretch it back again, three-legged plank, and you're going to put the foot down. Let's come back to down dog. So reaching back into your down dog. And now if you want to come into a vinyasa or kriya, you can come out to plank and move through for your back bend if you choose. You don't have to when you know it. So put your knees down and rest if you'd like. Good. And then we'll finish off and meet back in down dog. Good. From here, we're going to bring our left foot forward. We're coming up for warrior one this time. And again, get your blocks handy. Let yourself experiment with how long of a stance you want to take, number one, but also how wide of a stance, right? If your hips feel better, letting your feet go a little bit wider towards the outer edges of your mat, let them be there. And then just let yourself find your shoulders square. Release your arms, let them swing a little back and forth. Feel that strength right here. Right? As your arms are swinging naturally, you're still really solid in the core of your body. And then swing the arms on up, clasp your hands, send your pointer finger up, bend your elbows, hug them in a little bit. See if you can lift them up a little higher. And then again, if you want to straighten your arms out, you can keep your elbows bent. Coming into your warrior one here. Feet equal in the floor. Think about your arches lifting up on both your feet. Feeling the four corners of the feet into the floor. And now see if you can bend your elbows and just let your hands come right to the top of the back of the head. It's really right at the base of your thumbs comes there. Our elbows are still up a little bit. One more breath. And then release the hands on down in front of your chest, in front of your heart, bringing your gaze forward, straightening your front knee out. Bring your arms on down. Let your palms face each other. Reach your fingertips back behind you. And then come on forward towards pyramid pose. And with the arms back like this, don't go any farther than you want. You may just want to go an inch or two. You may want to go all the way parallel to the floor. That's up to you. Keep engaging the legs. And then when you're ready, let your hands come on down to whatever surface you like to use. And if you need to adjust your feet once you get down with your hands, do. Coming into pyramid pose here now. If you feel pretty good to fold a little bit over that front leg, then do it. If it feels like a relief. And then come on back up so you're more parallel to the floor. Good. And from here, we're going to bend the front knee, and you may want to take your blocks forward. because we're going to launch on up into a little warrior three with our toe facing down, the right toes facing down towards the ground. And now once you get pretty set in your warrior three, bend both your knees, bring your right knee in beside your left one. And now when you inhale the next time, stretch back into that warrior three. And do that again. Let yourself release, knees side by side. And the next time you inhale the leg back, let the right arm reach forward, like we did when we were on our hands and knees, right, almost. And do that again. Let your hand come back down, or you can either bring your elbow towards your knee and not put your hand down, or put it down, and then come back again into your warrior three. Stay here for a breath or two. And then bring your hand back down, and we're going to reach back into lunge here. So coming on back into your lunge, lower your back knee down to the floor. And from here, let's add a little twist. Now, you can go as deep as you want. You can keep your right hand on a block, left hand there to the outside of the knee, or you can go lower with this hand down lower if you want. So take your time. Let yourself enjoy that release there. And then we'll bring the left hand back down. Lift the back knee back up to lunge. And let's come on back into downward facing dog pose. From your dog, walk to the tops of your feet a couple of times, really pressing into the tops of your toes. If you're lucky, maybe you'll get a little pop out of the toe like I did. Feels good. Take your time. Release. Good. And then come on back to dog so we can bring our right foot forward. And we're coming up for warrior one on that other side. So again, just be mindful of how long and how wide your stance is. And sometimes changing that a little bit feels really good, right? So sometimes if you're used to lining your heels up in warrior one, if you experiment with having the feet a little bit wider, it changes the feeling of the pose. And it changes the feeling in your hips. You know, maybe for the better, and if it's not for the better, then go back where you were, right? Good. And then let your arms just swing. That little swing. So you're so solid in the core of the body, it's just the arms are independently swinging. Good. And then bring the hands on forward, interlace your fingers, and start to let your elbows rise up, right? And then if you want to come into straighter arms, you can. That's totally up to you. Elbows hug in, shoulders still away from your ears. Beautiful. Feeling that lift through the front of the body. Good. Now see if you can bend your elbows. Put your hands right there to the top of the back of your head. Elbows hug up a little higher. See if you can just feel the weight of your head. And it's like your head is pressing into your hands. It should feel like a relief. One more breath. And then release the hands over the top of the head. Bring them on back down to be in prayer hands in front of your heart. And we are going to unfold our arms, straighten that front knee out. And again, as you let your palms face each other, spread your fingers really wide. Reach your hands back behind you. And then it's almost like you're leading with your chest to come forward. Thighs lift up towards the hips. It doesn't mean you need to go far. You're going to be using your legs if you've only moved a couple of inches, right? Really engaging upward with your thighs, feeling all that work in the legs. Good. We're going to bring our hands down, whatever surface you like to use. Once you get into your pyramid pose, with your hands down, if you need to adjust at all with how long or how wide your stance is, do it. And again, if you feel pretty good to fold a little bit over that front leg, do it. If not, stay up more parallel. Good. And then from here, let yourself come back a little more now, parallel to the floor. Bend the front knee, send your blocks forward or your hands forward, and we're going to launch on up into that warrior three. So again, toes face down. Let yourself find your warrior three there. Get really where you feel really good to be. And now, bringing yourself into bending both knees, bringing your left knee beside your right. And now when you inhale, stretch back into that warrior three leg. And then again, as you exhale, bring the knee in. Let yourself bend both knees. And this time, when you inhale, stretch your right arm forward and your left leg back. And then when you exhale, again, either bring the right hand down or you can bring the elbow in towards your knee. And then when you inhale, come back again into that 3. And let's do it one more time, just for the heck of it. Bringing yourself in, and then stretching yourself out. Take a breath there. Good. And then bring your hand down. Step back into your lunge as gracefully as possible. And then lower your back knee down, which will feel like a huge relief. And again, as you shift your hips forward, like we did at the beginning of the class, you can decide if you want to be on a block or put your hand down lower as you twist, bringing your right hand up there to the outside of your knee. So you're really getting into the front of that left hip. Good. Lengthen out through the top of your head. Feel that long diagonal line, really. Good. And then we'll come on back down. And from here, let's bring the right knee back and come into Child's Pose. Let yourself release for a couple of breaths here. Feel the breath coming into the low back. Remember, you don't have to shift all the way back. That is totally up to you. Good. And let's come into threading the needle. So come up enough to bring your right arm through. Come on down onto the right side of your head. Let it feel like a huge relief. So whether you want to keep your left arm soft and bent or reach it overhead, sometimes it feels good to put it on your low back. Like to just rest the hand up there on your low back and then feel your breath coming into your low back. And then we're going to come on back through center, so use your left hand to press yourself up. And again, feed that left arm through, thread that needle. You can, if you want, do like you're doing down dog with your hand, your right hand up overhead. Or maybe it feels good just to leave your elbow soft and bent. Or you can rest the hand on your back. I like to turn the palm up and just let myself breathe into the back of my hand there. And then we'll come on back. We're going to make our way on back here. Arms overhead. And let's come on up to all fours. Shift back to down dog. And then walk our feet wider on our mat and walk our hands back towards our feet. And bring your elbows above your knees for a second. Let yourself lengthen out. Come into that kind of higher squat where your back is long and you're really lengthened out. Good. And then turn your heels inward. And any of you who want to come down more from here into a full squat, you can, right? That is totally up to you. You can adjust how far apart your feet are, of course. And if your heels lift up when you come into squat, that's fine too. It's fine. Just let yourself find what feels good in your low back and your hips. Good. And now, we're going to bring our hands down. We're going to rise up and get our feet right underneath us. So come on into your standing forward bend with your feet hips distance apart and parallel. And then bend your knees, bring your hands up to your hips, and come on up to standing. We're going to inhale our arms out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down. Let our top of our head float up higher. Find all that space in your spine. Now check out your pelvis. Make sure you're not tucking your tailbone under you, but you're feeling the tailbone reaching down towards between your heels. You have a little engagement in your belly, but you're not overdoing it. And once the pelvis is aligned, it's like you can float here forever. So bring your awareness to feeling your heartbeat. your body settle down, let your breath settle down. And then we'll release to unfold our arms on down beside us and shake out just a little bit. Good. We're going to come to a wall. We have room, so I can move to this side and move the camera. If I'm thinking, let's see, 1, 2, yeah, so, well, there's already 2 there, so Arena, if you want to, you can come right here, and then Randy, you can turn that other way if you would.
Yes, that's where I was going.
And that way she can be sure. There. Perfect. So, we're going to come down. Once you get yourself short edge to the wall, we're going to come down onto our bellies with our feet back towards the wall behind us. So, come on down. Let your heels, if you can, flex your feet and feel, the balls of your feet into the wall for a second here. Because we're going to lift up to a forearm plank with our heels up the wall. So if you lift up here and you don't feel like you're quite in the right place with your elbows, then adjust, right? So that you feel like, oh, I can engage here. This feels pretty good. Now remember how we were doing a plank where we lifted our hips up a little bit? And then we brought them back down? See if you can do that. Lift your hips up a little bit. Feel your belly, and then come back to the full plank. And then again, lift your hips up a little bit. And then come back to the full plank. Nice. And then come on down. Shift forward, more away from the wall. And let's come on in to rolling onto our right side. Let's do a little side forearm plank on our right elbow, underneath the shoulder, loose fist with your right hand coming towards the corner of your mat. Now, how you do these is up to you. If you want to take it easy, just pull your knees forward and press into your forearm. Don't even lift up your hips. Or you can do the one left foot on the floor in front of you and lift your hips up so you have a little help, but you're pretty hard still. And see if you can stretch your left arm, up overhead. And then see if you can put your left hand behind your head. And then some of you might want to lower that left elbow down towards your right wrist, and then, hand, and then fist, and then lift back up again. If you like these little curls, you can do them, which is a lot of work, especially if you're in the full side plank. Don't do them too much. And then come on down with your hips, release back through center, because we're going to go the other side. So again, you do not want to do something that's too much in your shoulder. Right here is engaging your shoulder. If you've got your shoulder over your elbow and you're pressing into your forearm, that's enough. If you want more, lift up into that plank, side forearm plank, right arm up. And then again, you decide, do you want to do those curls? You don't have to. Hand behind the head, you can draw your right elbow down like it's coming towards your left hand or fist, and then you can rise back up. And there's your core body really going crazy. Your abs, yeah. And you're like, okay, I've had entirely enough of this. Come on down when you're ready. Good. Come back onto your belly again. And now, shift back with your hips. Get your feet back to the wall. And let's come on up into a dolphin pose with our heels at the wall, which should feel kind of like a relief after all that. So if it doesn't, and you don't feel good to do this, don't do it, of course. But you can take your time, and if you'd rather go to your hands and not be on your forearms, but go up into being with your arms overhead and dog at the wall, play a little bit. Where do you want to be? And that could be anywhere. Feel like you want to walk up the wall, by all means do it. You know, rest whenever you need to. You can come down and rest in child's pose. You can sit with your head above your heart. once you've finished off, we're all going to just briefly come back down onto our bellies. So take your time. Let yourself make a little pillow with your hand. Rest your forehead on your hands. And then just draw your right knee over to the side, off beside you on the floor. So you can turn to look with your head, turn to look to your right elbow. Rest the left side of your head, and then just release here. Breathe into your low back. Now some of you in this pose, it'll feel better to stay here. Some of you might want to add a little back bend. You can come up like you're just a little bit up on your forearms if that feels good. If it feels like more of a relief for you in your back, and it is a bit of a back bend, half frog. So you kind of feel like a half frog. Just saved one out of the swimming pool yesterday. And believe it or not, a tortoise was in our pool. I saved its life, a baby. We're going to do the other side. So you can come down first and take your time and release there. And then, of course, if it feels even better to come up, you can. It's just not for everybody, right? Everybody's different. Sometimes staying down feels much better than lifting up. Good. And then we're going to come on, back down with the legs. And let's shift on up to all fours. And we're going to come on around to sitting, bringing our legs on around in front of us. So sit with your back against the wall for just a second, right? In this staff pose where you're totally supported. And you can sit up on a blanket, you know that. If it feels better, sit up on a blanket. Or put a rolled up blanket under your knees if you're tight in your hamstrings and your low back. That can help you sit up taller and feel better, right? And then bring your hands on down beside you, palms down towards the ground. And let your shoulders really open back towards the wall. That doesn't mean the back of your head's going to be in the wall. That depends on how you're built. But let the wall just even you out here. Start to feel the sense of reaching up through the top of your head. We all have very different curves in our back. So, where you're touching the wall will be different for everybody. So you're not trying to push your back into the wall, right? You're just letting the back naturally align itself. Your bottom's all the way back to the wall, right? Good. Oh, and the wall feels cool, doesn't it? Oh, it really does. Well, one more breath here. And then we're going to move forward away from the wall. You might want to have a block. The block's handy because we're going to come down onto our backs on the floor. Bring your feet onto the floor once you get there. And then let your knees just come easily from side to side. Just let yourself release there. Good. And now bring your knees back up to center and feel your back on the floor now. Kind of a different feeling than when you're sitting up at the wall, right? But still, just feel what part of your back is touching the floor, your back body. And then let's set up for either a supported bridge or a bridge pose here. Bring your arms down alongside you, whether you like to bend your elbows or keep your arms straight. Press into the backs of the arms and float your way on up. Once you get up, even if you're on a block or you're not, lift your heels up in your bridge. Feel the back of your head gently into the ground. You can roll your shoulders under as much as you can, you know that. Now try to keep your hips where they are. Let your heels come on back down. Good, and then release to come on back down to the floor. And from there, breathe into your low back. Keep your knees bent. Keep yourself right where you are. Good. And then do one little pelvic tilt as you exhale. Curl your tailbone a little bit. Let your low back release to the floor. And then go ahead and come back into your neutral spine. Let's do one more bridge, or if you prefer to do an upward facing bow pose, you can put your hands on the ground above your shoulders and press up. So coming back into your bridge, and again, you can stay supported. You can lift up and down off the block if you want. You can do higher support on that block. So play a little bit with your bridge. Moving up and down as you see fit, or you never have to wait for me. And if you're ready to come out of bridge pose anytime, you do not have to wait for me. Good, just enjoy. Now be easy. When you are ready to come down, take your time. If you're up on the block, when you take it out, be really mindful. When you come down to the floor, bring your knees on in towards your chest gently. And then open the knees out to the side towards Baddha Konasana, letting the soles of the feet come towards each other. And you can either hold your shins, your ankles, or if you like to wrap your hands around the outside edges of your feet, go right for it. Not everybody's hips feel good when they do that, so be where you can. If you're more comfortable to have your feet on the floor and then open into your Baddha Konasana, by all means do that. Some people that feels much better, some people it feels like not good at all, right? So you can experiment with that. From there, let yourself bring your knees back up. Let's bring our right knee in towards our chest and extend our left leg down long on the floor. And use your left hand to draw that right knee over across to a twist. And you can go just a little ways or further. You know that. You can stretch your leg out if you want to. You can keep your knee bent. As you stretch the right arm out beside you, if you like to turn your head to the right, you can. Be easy and enjoy coming into your twist of choice. Good. So one more breath there. And then slowly make your way back in, knee towards the chest again. And we're just going to switch our legs out. So when you're ready, bringing that left knee in, right hand coming over to the knee, left arm stretching out beside you, and then coming over and across, again, only as far as you want to go. So take your time. If you like to stretch your leg out, you can keep the knee bent, or you can stretch the leg long. Left shoulder releases down towards the floor. Enjoy that twist. Easy breaths. You always do it for me. I thought I would do it for you this time. So coming on back easily now with the knee coming back into center. And then let your body do what you need to do. Do your knees want to come in? Do you want to stretch your legs up in the air? Do you feel like there's something else entirely that you need to do? And that could be anything at all. We all know that. If you need to do a plow pose, do a plow pose. If you need to come into another little bridge pose to kind of even things out, or any what you bring. Support once you start to settle in for Shavasana. Don't rush, but remember you can use the wall behind you. You can use bolsters for underneath or underneath your back. Remember for your neck, if you need a little blanket, let me know. If you need bolster, let me know. Wave at me if anything sounds good. Just get comfortable. If you need to let your head roll a little side to side, if you feel like it would be really nice to be able to wiggle around and put your arms and your legs in a different place. Just let yourself accept your breaths in and out. Easy. Your mind has a little bit of trouble settling down. That's okay. That happens, doesn't it? Just see if you can softly keep returning to your breath, whatever helps you do that. And as the breath quiets the body, mind. Just trust your body to get what it needs from all we just did. And let yourself completely and fully relax. Feel your breath coming in and going out a little more fully. Just let those deeper breaths refresh you a little bit, bring you back into wanting to physically move. And when you're ready to start moving, let your fingers, your toes, your hands, your feet gradually start to bring you back into arms, legs. Let your body come back to moving the way that feels very natural and easy. You know, of course, that you are welcome to stay on your back. You're welcome to roll onto either your right or your left side and come into a soft position there if that feels like a good way to give yourself a little more time to adjust to be on your side. And when you're ready to rise up, let it feel really easy. Let yourself feel like you can sit comfortably and allow the spine to easily lengthen up and feel that sense of space in your spine as you feel your head floating again up there on top. Allow your shoulders to release nice and wide and open. And perhaps let your hands turn palms up. Rest the backs of your hands somewhere on your legs so you can feel almost like you could be breathing in and out through your heart. On your next exhale, let your hands gently come together there in front of your chest, in front of your own heart. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste.
Namaste.
Happy Tuesday. And happy end of August.